Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In previous video, I have shown you how to add database in your application and also how to create the dummy data and persist that dummy data into the database. So if you haven't watched that video, then just go to description, there you will find the link for my previous video. And in this video, what we are going to do is, this much of stuff is already done. When we click on this, clicked on card is shown. So this much stuff is done. So in this video, what we are going to do is whenever I click on this, a new activity will open and the data which we have persisted will be rendered over there. So let me just close this and let me show you quickly what we are going to develop. So this is the complete app. So suppose when I click on this one, it will open new activity and here we have the list of data, right? And also what we can do is, whenever we type something like this and click on this one and this data is added, and whenever we click on this, a pop-up like this will be shown and it's asking for confirmation to delete. So these all stuff we are going to do in this video. So let me just close this application and let's start developing. Okay, so first thing what we need is we need a activity to move to that activity whenever we click on that card. So right click on this, click on this one, click on activity and select one empty activity. Here I'm going to name this one checklist and click on finish. This will generate a Java class with the name checklist and one layout, that is activity underscore check underscore list. So before we do anything over here, first thing what we have to do is we have to move to this adapter, and inside this one we have to move over here. So here what we have did is we have set a text that whenever I click on this message is shown, right? So let me move back over here. Let me just open my application and here you can see this, whenever I clicked on card is shown. So this time what I want to, I don't need this toast, right? So what I'm going to do is just comment it, and here what I'm going to do is create one intent, just move back over here, alt and enter to import class quickly. After this is equal new intent, and here what we will do is we will pass view dot get context, and inside this one in the intent we have to pass the current context and to which activity we have to move. We have to move to checklist, and inside this one we have to pass checklist.class. Now our intent is ready. Next thing what we have to do is we have to put some of the extra stuff into this intent. It means that I want to pass some of the string from this activity to another activity, that is the header, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put intent dot put extra, and inside this one we have already created some of the constants. So in the key is header. So let me just open this, and here we can see this. We have header. If you directly type it over here, the header in double quotes, this will work also. For the key we have set the header, and what is the value I want to set? That is titles.get, and we have to get it from that specific position. So suppose I have clicked on this basic needs, then basic needs will be set as a header in this intent. One more thing what I need to do is I need to set one more stuff into this intent for some specific case only, like if my constant dot my selection dot equals, inside this one it's titles dot get dot position. So what is this? This is my selection. If I move back over here, and here we can see this is the my selections, right? So whenever this my selection, we open this my selection stuff, then you must have observed that in our application, in this section, in the my selection, we have hidden some of the items over here. But if we move back into the another section, let me just move back into this needs, and if I click on this one, we have multiple items. So on the basis of this value, let me just move back over here. On the basis of this value, we will actually hide and show that stuff. Okay, so if I'm going to put another value into this one, put extra, and inside this one I'm going to put my constant dot show small, and in my constants dot false string, so I don't want to show those stuff. and in the else condition what I have to do is I have to show that stuff. Okay, so intern dot put extra my constants dot show small, and the value will be my constants dot true string. Okay, so if I show you this constant value, so it's false, and for this one it's true. You can see this. Either you can use the constant like this or you can use like this. Let me just copy this and paste it over here. If I go into this one, show, move back and just remove this in the double quotes, just paste it, and in the place of this just remove it and comma and paste it like this. You can also do like this, but for the common stuff, because when we are extracting, we are again going to use this show, so we again need to type this. Suppose if we type something like this by mistake, then it will not work and the time will be wasted, right? So one centralized position to keep all the constants. So this is how this will work later. Okay, so next thing, now the two values which I need to set into this intent is done over here. Next thing what I have to do is I have to move from this to another activity. So view dot get context dot start activity, and so this one we have to pass the intent. So that's it. So now let's start the application and let's check if this works. So let me just click on this and move back over here. Okay, so the application is installing. Okay, so now our application started, and here now I'm going to click on this, and here you can see this. Now new activity is open, but this activity is empty because we haven't coded anything, and even the header is not visible also. So we have passed the header from here. Here you can see this, that we will set that header and we will render all the data into that one. Okay, so let's move back over here. So first what we are going to do is we are going to design the checklist, this one, activity checklist. So let me move back to the code, and here what I'm going to do is, first thing I'm going to just remove this constraint layout, and in the place of this I'm going to put a relative layout. In this relative layout we have to set some color over here. So I'm going to set some color. Background is hash E3 AC, and it's AC, the red color as you have seen in the video. You can see this. Now the color is set. Next thing what we have to do is we have to put the recycler view, and in the below the recycler we have a text field, right? So I'm going to put one recycler view first, recycler view, and the height and width will be match parent and match parent, and ID will be recycler view, something like this. Next thing what we are going to do is we are going to put a margin bottom, so margin bottom of 60 dp, so that we can put the text field over here. And let me just close this. Okay, next thing we are going to put one linear layout, because in the linear layout we have to put one text field with one image icon. Okay, that is a check button. So inside this one we are going to put the width to match parent and height to 60 dp. Next thing what we have to do is we have to set this align parent to bottom, align parent bottom to true, and after this orientation to horizontal, because the text field is in the start and the button is after that. So this is horizontal orientation, right? If you want to put up and down, then you have to add the orientation to vertical. Next thing I'm going to set one ID for this one. So ID will be @ID, and it's linear layout. Okay, next thing we have to set the background for this. So background, it will be hash ffd6d6, something like this. Here you can see this. Now the color for this one is changed, and this is the recycler view. Here you can see this. Now the layout over here inside this one. Let me just close this. Inside this one we have to put one text view and one button. So I'm going to put one edit text view inside this one. So it will be edit text view, and the height and width will be something like this. So width I'm going to set this 0 dp, and for the height I'm going to set 5, and not height will be not 5, it will be wrap content, and weight, layout weight will be 5. something like this, and you can see this. Next thing what we have to do is we have to put some hint into this one. So hint will be enter item to add, like this. After this, text size, whatever the text you will enter into this one, I need to set the size for that one, that is 22 SP, and you can see this. Now this one is visible. Layout margin left, layout margin left, and I'm going to set it to 8 dp. After this, I'm going to set the text style to bold and italic, something like this, and let me just close this. Now the task for this one is done. After this, I have to add one button, right? So button, inside this one, I have to set the width to 0 dp and weight, layout weight to 0.7, something like this. After this, I have to set the height for this one. So height will be wrap content, and I'm going to set the background for this. So background will be IC check circle. So we haven't created it. So what I'm going to do is just go to drawable, select new, select vector asset, click on this and search for check. Just select this one, click on this one, or select any image of your choice, and I'm going to just change the name for this one like this, IC circle or something like this. IC check circle. Okay, and click on next and click on finish. Here what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that image. So at the rate drawable slash IC check circle, something like this, and here you can see this. Now the image is visible over here. Let me just zoom in quickly, and here you can see this. Now the image is visible over here. Next thing, we have to set the layout for this. So layout margin end to 8 dp, and let me just close this. Now the task for this one is done. Next thing what we have to do is we have to create item view, right? So if I move back to my application and if I click on this, not this one, the complete one, and you can see this is an item, right? So this item is being replicated, or we can say duplicated, for each item, right? So we have to design this one item view. So let me just move back over here, and inside this layout, what I'm going to do is right click on this, click on new layout resource file. Inside this one, I'm going to design a new resource file. So this will be, the name for this one will be check underscore list underscore item, and click on OK, and this will generate a item list. So click on code, and here what we are going to do is I'm going to just remove this constraint layout with linear layout. Move back over here. In the linear layout, first thing, we have this match parent and match parent. So what we have to do is we have to just change this one to wrap content. Let me just split this so that we can see the design at the same time. Here you can see this, the height is wrapped. Next thing what we have to do is we have to set the margin top, and I'm going to set this one to 10 dp, and I'm going to set the margin from start of 5 dp. After this, I'm going to set a margin end of also 5 dp, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some padding of 10 dp. Okay, after this, I'm going to set the text alignment to center, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give an ID to this one. So ID will be linear layout. You can give any name as per your choice. Okay. And next thing, we also need to set the orientation. So I'm going to set the orientation to horizontal, because one after another, and then we have the delete button, right? So this is how we are going to design. Next thing what we have to do is we have to put one checkbox, right? So I'm going to add one checkbox. And for the height and width, what we're going to do is for the width, I'm going to set the 0 dp, and we have to set the weight, and the weight will be 5. And the height for this one will be wrap content. After this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set an ID for this one. So ID checkbox and layout gravity gravity to center. After this, what we are going to do is we are going to set some text so that we can see what exactly it look like. This is just for test. We just close this and let me just copy and paste it to multiple times. Something like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set some text size and it will be 20 dp. And here you can see this. When the size increases, it increases something like this. So now for this, the task for checkbox is done. Next thing, we have to put one button on at the end. So I'm going to put one button quickly. So just move back over here. So button, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the ID and width and height as well. So width will be 0 dp, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the weight for this one. So the weight will be 0.7, and the height for this one will be wrap content. And after this, I'm going to set the ID. ID will be btn delete. Gravity will be center. Layout gravity will be center. And after that, I'm going to set the background for this. So you must have observed that we have a beautiful background, this black color. So we have to create that background, right? So just move back over here to the drawable. And what we are going to do is we are going to create one drawable. So right click on this and click on new and click OK. So we don't need to create a layout right now, not the drawable. So we have to actually create one delete button, delete icon over here. So right click on this, click on new and click on vector assets, click on this one, and here you can search for delete. You can select any of your choice. So I'm going to select this delete icon. So click on OK, and I'm going to just change this one. I see delete underscore white. Click on enter and click on finish. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one background for this one, and that will be at the rate drawable / delete white, something like this. And let me just close this, and here you can see this. Now the view for this one is ready. Next thing what we have to do is we have to create one background that's the black background, which we are going to set later in the adapter. So let me just create that quickly. So click on new and create on drawable resource file, and inside this one we have to select the shape, and I'm going to give it a name. So that is border underscore 1, and click on enter, and this will create a shape like this. Next thing, we have to set some property inside this one, that will be stroke, and I'm going to set the width for the same, that is 2 dp. You can increase and decrease as per your choice, and the color for this one will be black. So hash 6 times 0. After this, I'm going to just close this. Next thing, I have to set some curve at the corner. So for that, I'm going to set the corners, and I'm going to set the radius for this one, that is 20 dp. And let me just close this like this, and here you can see this at the corner. We have the radius, if you can see it over here. You can also increase it, like if I put it 200, and you can see this. Now the shape is drastically changed, so you can change it as per your choice. Next thing what we have to do is we have to create an adapter class. So let me just minimize this, now minimize this and minimize this. Now the task for this design and everything is done right now. So let me just close this all tabs and move back to over here. Right click on this and click on new Java class, and here what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a name. So check list adapter, and click on enter. This will create a class like this. So inside this one, first thing what we have to do is we have to create a view holder class. So I'm going to create a class, and I'm going to name this view holder. So check list view holder, and this will extend recycler view dot view holder, and just open the braces and hover over this red line, and it will show create a constructor matching super. Now the issue is resolved. Inside this one, what we have to do is we have to actually connect the backend. We have to make a reference for the UI, right? So if I move back over here in the drawable, not in the drawable, in the layout, and here if we see this check item list, here we have one layout, and we have one checkbox, and we have one delete button. So we have to bind this inside this one. Okay, so for that one, I'm going to create one linear layout, and I'm going to name this one layout, and one is checkbox, another is button, that is btn delete, and after this we have to make the connection with that one. So layout is equal to item view dot find view by id r dot id dot linear layout, right? So we just move back over here, alt and enter, and import class this one. After this we have to select this linear layout, and I just close this. After this we have checkbox is equal to item view dot find view by id r dot id dot checkbox, like this one. After this we have this btn delete is equal to item view dot find view by id r dot id dot btn delete. Now we have the reference to those checkbox, or whatever you can say this, the delete button or the layout. So whenever we click on that layout, we have to check and uncheck, and we have to set the check and uncheck value to that one. Whenever we click on the delete button, we have to delete the value. So now our view holder adapter is ready. Next thing what we have to do is we have to move back over here, and here we have to extend the cycler view dot adapter. Inside this one we have to pass our view holder. So checklist view holder, something like this. Next thing what we have to do is we have to hover over this and click on implement methods and select all of these three methods and click on OK, and this will generate a code like this. Before we do anything in this one, we have to create some of the constants which are required. So context, we need it, not this one, context, and I'm going to give it a name, that is context. After this, list of items to show. So list of items list. Just move back over, alt and enter, and import class. After this we need room db, that is the database. Next thing we need a string, that is show or not, which we have passed from one activity to another activity, right? So these all we required over here. So another thing, we have to generate the constructor. So first I'm going to generate a empty constructor. After this I'm going to create another constructor. So press alt and insert key to open a pop-up like this. Click on constructor and select the items, that is context items list, and after this we have the database and we have the string. So click on OK, and this will open a pop-up like this. Now you must have observed that whenever we open the application, and if I go to the one stuff like my list and nothing is there to show, so one toast message is shown over there, that nothing to show, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to implement that. So if item list dot size is equal to 0, then we need to show the toast. So toast, and inside this one we have to show the toast, right? So nothing to show, something like this. In the place of context, what we are going to use is context dot get application context, something like this. Now whenever our application opens and we click on some list in which nothing is to show, then this message will pop up. If you want to change it, you can change it as per your choice. Next thing what we have to do is we have to move back to this checklist view holder over here, and we have to return a view, right? So return new checklist view holder. Inside this one we have to pass layout inflator dot from. Inside this one we have to pass the context, and after this we have to type inflate. Inside this one we have to pass the layout which we have created, that is r.layout.checklist item, and after this we have to pass the parent, and then finally pass the false, that is attached to root. Let's close it. So here you can see this. Now our onCreate view holder is ready. That new view holder with the item list is returned. Okay, next thing, move back to this onBind view holder, and before we move back over here, let me simply change this one. So list items list dot size, and this will return how many rows we want, right? Suppose we have 10 items, then we need 10 rows. So according to this adapter is rendered. Okay, so next thing, if we move back into this one, here what we have to do is we have to type holder dot checkbox dot set text, and we have to get the text from item list dot get the item from a specific position, and from that we have to get item name. So this list item is type of items, right? So inside the items we have getter and setters, that is item name, the category, and other stuff. So we are getting item, suppose this position is 0, then item object from the 0th position, and from that item we are actually extracting the name. In the same way, we have to set that holder dot checkbox dot set checked item list dot get position dot get checked status, right? So initially it's false, as I have told you already. Next thing, if my constants dot false string, this is the string, dot equals show. So if this is false, then we have to hide the button. So you must have observed that if we move back over here, let me just close this. We just close, this is the complete app, right? So here what I want to show is, if I go to this my selections, you can observe that in the bottom we don't have that button and other stuff, right? So we have to hide it whenever this is show is false, right? So holder dot btn delete dot set visibility view dot gone, something like this. After this, we have to set holder dot layout dot set background drawable, and so this one we have to set context dot get resources dot get drawable, and so this one we have to pass r dot drawable dot border 1, which we have created that black outline, right? In the else condition, what we have to do is we have to check if item list dot get position dot get checked. In that situation, what we have to do is we have to set holder dot layout dot set background color, and I'm going to set the color for this one. So color dot parse color, inside this one we have to pass the string, whatever the color code you want to set. So 8E546F, this is what we are going to set. In the else condition, we have to set the layout. So layout dot set background drawable context dot get resources dot get drawable r dot drawable dot border 1. So what this basically does is, suppose that is, if I move back over here, and here you can see this, let me just move back and move back inside this one, and here you can see this. If I check this, now the border is removed and the color is changed. So this is what I did over here. So when I checked it, now the color is changed and the border is removed. Whenever I uncheck it, now the color is changed to the previous one and the border is added, right? So this is what we did over here. Next thing what we have to do is we have to whenever we click on check button, we have to update the stuff, right? So for that, what we are going to do is just make some space, holder dot checkbox dot set on click listener new view on click listener. Let me make some space over here. Next thing what we have to do is we have to get some stuff like boolean check is equal to holder dot checkbox dot is checked. If this is checked, then we have to update the stuff. So database main DAO and we have written some query, right? So check, uncheck. Inside this one, we have to pass the ID. So item list dot get. Inside this one, we have to pass the position dot get ID, and after this we have to pass the status, whatever we want to do. So if we want to check it or uncheck it, if you want to see this query, so let me just open it quickly. So items tau, inside this one we have written these query in the previous video. So update item set checked where ID is this. So we are passing the ID and we are passing the status, whatever we want to do. So you can see this is done. So it's showing an error, but it's just due to some of the issues, but it will not stop our execution. Okay, don't worry about that if it's same in your system. Okay, so next thing what we have to do is we have to check if my constants dot false string dot equals show. Then what we have to do is item list, and whenever we click on that, we don't need to only update the data, right? Instantly that needs to be shown on the UI, right? Whenever I click on this, instantly the color is changing, instantly everything is happening, right? So at the same time I want to render also. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make some changes. So database dot main DAO dot get all selected, and it's true. Okay, so this is the different case. This is if this one is show, then I want to actually select all the data which has checked, right? So this is the case where, let me just move back over here. This is the case when we are on this dashboard page, in the first page, and here if I click on this my selected, then it returns the false value, right? It means that I have to not show some of the data. In that case, we only show all the items which you have selected in different categories, right? So we have written the query that get all selected. If I pass true, then only all selected methods will be returned. All selected values, that is, will be returned. All the checked values, or whatever you can say, all the selected values will be returned, right? So if this is the case, then what we have to do is we have to do notify dataset changed. In the else condition, what we have to do, we have to get items list dot get, and we get the position dot set checked to check, and notify dataset changed at the same time, and we have to create a toast. Okay, so toast, not like this, something like this. Toast message is equal to null, and if toast message is not equal to null, then what we want to do is toast message dot cancel. It means that suppose one toast is already visible and then another toast is appearing over it, so one by one it's appearing. That's why I have just cancelled this toast. After this, what I did is we just move back over here, and here we have to show that message. Whenever we click on that item is backed, that message like that is visible, right? So for that, what I'm going to do is if items list dot get and the specific position dot get checked, then toast message is equal to toast dot make toast. Inside this one we have to pass the context, and inside this one we have to make the data like that. So opening bracket, make some space if you want, otherwise you can type like this: holder dot checkbox dot get text, something like this, plus, and then we put double quotes and the closing bracket, it's packed, right? Next thing, toast dot length long, length short. Okay, in the else condition, what we have to do is we have to do something similar to this one. Toast is equal to toast dot make toast, and context. Inside this one we have to pass holder dot checkbox dot get text plus closing bracket in the double quotes closing bracket unpacked comma toast dot length short, something like this. And finally what we have to do is we have to show the toast message dot show, and this will show a toast whenever we click on that. After this, what we have done is we have done the check and uncheck part. Next thing what we have to do is we have to actually work on delete stuff, that delete button, right? So holder dot btn delete dot set on click listener, new view on click listener, something like this, and I pressed Control Alt and L in order to format the stuff, format the lines, right? Here what I'm going to do is, as I have shown you that whenever I move back over here and if I move back into this one and whenever I click on this, we have to show a progress bar, right? So when I click on this, here you can see this delete and the name is over here, are you sure, and the cancel and confirm. When I click on cancel, that deletion is cancelled. So I'm going to apply that same stuff, and here you must observe that over here on the checkbox, here you can see this, now the button is visibility is gone in the case of this my selections. So let me move back over here. You can see this, you can see a delete button over here. Here you can see this, but in the my selections the delete button is not there. If you want to show that over there only, here you can see this, now the delete button is gone. So if you comment this line, the delete button is also visible over there. So let me just move back over and let me move back to this delete button code, and here what we will do is we will show one alert dialog box. So alert dialog builder, inside this one we have to pass the context, and inside this one we have to set the title, and I'm going to set the title delete, and this will be something like this, delete plus item list dot get position dot get item name plus in the double quotes make some space and close this. After this we have to set the message, are you sure, are you sure, question mark. After this the set positive button, inside this one I'm going to ask for confirm. This is the button name, so new dialog interface dot on click listener, wait for a second, I guess I made some mistake, I missed the comma over here, on click listener, something like this. Click on this one, on cancel, on click, cancel on dismiss, not this one. Let me just remove this quickly. New on new dialog interface dot on click, this one. Okay, so here what we have to do is we have to this is the dialog and that one is okay. So database dot main doc dot delete, and we have to pass the item, right? So item list dot get the item from the specific position, and this will delete the data. So in the previous video I've already shown how to write the query for this one, so please watch the previous video, link is already in the description. Next thing what we have to do is item list dot remove whatever the data which we have deleted, we also need to remove from that recycler view. So I'm going to just remove it, item list dot get position, that item will be returned and that item will be removed, and notify dataset changed. After this what we have to do is, let me just close this, not this one, this one, dot set negative, okay, over here let me just close this, dot set negative button, that is cancel. so CANCEL, and here again new dialog on click over here, and let me just set icon over here. So I want to set the icon, so r.drawable .ic underscore delete. So we haven't added the delete over here, so let me quickly add a drawable, that is IC delete. Just move back over here, just click on this vector asset, just click on this delete forever like this one, and change the color for this one to red, and just remove this much stuff. IC delete, click on this one and finish. And here if I press control and spacebar, and you can see this. After this, what we have to do is we have to just simply call .show, and this one is ready. Okay, so we missed some of the stuff, I guess. One curly braces is missing. Let me just remove these two and put one curly braces over here, and now the issue is resolved. Okay, so in the cancel stuff, we don't need to do anything. If you want to show a toast message, then you can show a toast message like this, operation cancelled by user, something like this, cancelled, and this will show a message that deletion operation is cancelled. Okay, next thing what we have to do is we already have added this size, return the size over here, so the task over here is done. Next thing we have to move to this checklist. Just move back over here, and here first thing what I have to do is I'm going to add some of the methods over here. First thing that will be add item, so I'm going to generate a stuff. Okay, so before adding item, I'm going to create one stuff over here, so private void, and this will be update recycler. Inside this one we will pass list of items, and let me just press alt and enter, import, and this one will be items list, and also we need to import this list, so let me just quickly do that. So before we do anything further, let me just quickly initialize some of the variables over here. So that is recycler view over here, checklist adapter. After this we need the room DB, so room DB is database. After this I need list of items list is equal to new array list. After this I need string header and show and hide this stuff. Okay, next thing we have to create some variable of edit text, that is the txt add. And next thing we need one button, that is the that for add button, so btn add, and we need one linear layout, that is linear layout. Let me just quickly import this one, alt and enter, and import class. Okay, so now quickly move back to this update recycler. Inside this one what we have to do is we have to update recycler, and we have to set some of the properties. Set has fixed size, and we have to set this to true. Next thing what we have to do is recycler view dot set layout manager. Inside this one we have to pass new staged grid layout manager. Inside this one we have to pass the count, that is 1, and we have to pass a linear layout manager dot vertical. Okay, after this what we have to do is we have to type like this, checklist adapter is equal to new checklist adapter. Inside this one we have to pass checklist dot this, and we have to pass this item list comma database, and we have to pass this shows value, right? Next thing we have to set recycler view dot set adapter, and we have to pass this checklist adapter into this one. So in the checklist adapter we have created the constructor which accept the context, and it can accept the values, that is item list, and it also accept the database object, and it also accept the show value. So we haven't initialized these values. Let me quickly do those all stuff over here inside this one, and then we will see how this works. Before that I also need to add one more method, that is private void add new item. This will basically use to add new item into the database. So string item name, and that this one we will create one object of items. Items is equal to new items. Just quickly delete this yes from over here. So item dot set checked, initially it will be false by default. After this, item dot category, and this category will be whatever the header. Next thing, item dot set item name, so whatever is from the whatever we get into this method over here. Okay, so it must be showing that header is may not be initialized. Apply to okay, this is not yeah. If I move back into this header, the category is string. Okay, so it will work, don't worry about that. After this, item dot set added by, and so this one in the my constant we have already created user small, right? After this, we have to call this database dot main DAO, but we have to call this stuff that is save items, and so this one we have to pass the item. After this, we also need to update the recycler view, and we need to move to the bottom. So inside this one item list, I have added the updated the recycler view. Next thing what we have to do is recycler view dot scroll to position checklist adapter dot get item count -1 at this position, right? And we have to clear the text field. So txt add dot set text, and we have to set simply double quotes, something like this. Okay, so this header is empty for now. Let me just quickly move back over here into this one, and first thing what we have to do is we have to hide the toolbar. So get support action bar dot okay, in the toolbar we don't need to hide in this situation, we have to actually set the header into that one, right? So inside this one we have to show that header. So set support, get support action bar, set display home up enabled. So this is for the back button, right? So we want to also show the back button. So if I move back to this one, and here you can see this, we have this back button. So this code get support action bar, inside this one we have to set this back button. After this, we have to extract the string and that show value from the intent in order to set that into the header, right? So intent is equal to get intent, and we have to extract the header. So we have already created the string of header. So header is equal to intent dot get a string extra, and we have to use the same key. So my constant dot header small. Look at this. Oh, sorry, my bad. This is not get category, it's set category, right? And now the issue is gone. Okay, after this header, we have show. Inside this one, we have item. We also need to extract it from intent. Intent dot get a string extra. My constants dot show small. So now we got these two values. If you want to print it, you can print it and check it over here. Next thing what we have to do is we have to actually register other applications, and before we register, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the header. So get support action bar dot set title, and we have to set the header over here. Okay. Next thing what we have to do is we have to okay, so let's check if this header is set or not. So let me just restart my application, and let me just close this, and you can see this now the Gradle build is running. Okay, so we missed something over here, unexpected. Let me just open it, move back over here. Okay, so we haven't closed it properly, so let me just close it. Okay, so close it and restart my application. And here we go. Now my application is open. If I click on this, and here you can see this, now the basic needs is visible over here. Now the header is being set. Baby needs, here you can see this. Now the health is visible over here. Everything is changing. As if I move back into this one, here you can see this needs is visible over here, but now the data is not visible. Now these all stuff is also not hidden. So why it's not working? Because we haven't called this update recycler into this one. Before we call it, we need to actually make a variable for this one. Not actually variable, we need to register it, right? We have to find view by ID, and then we have to make a connection with that view. Then we can perform the operation. So before we first thing what we have to do is txt add is equal to find view by ID r.id.txt add r.id.txt add something like this. Let me just move back over here in the checklist, and we have this txt. Okay, so we forgot to put a ID for this one. So ID txt add. If I move back over here, you can see this. Now the issue is gone. btn add is equal to find view by ID r.id.btn. Okay, so we haven't added the ID for it. So let me quickly do that. ID btn add. Move back over here. btn add. Now recycler view is equal to find view by ID r.id.recycler view, and for the linear layout we also have one ID. So find view by ID r.id.linear. Okay, we haven't added the ID for the same. Not this one. Okay, we have the ID. Let me just copy it and move back over here and just paste it. And here you can see this. Now the issue is gone. Next thing, we have to create the database object. So right, database is equal to room db, and say this one we have to call get instance, which we have developed in the previous video, and we have to pass the context. So this we have passed. So in some situation, like if my constant dot false string dot equals show, in this situation what we have to do is we have to hide that linear layout, right? So linear layout dot set visibility view dot gone. So let's see if this works or not. In the else situation, what we have to do is we have to simply do all this stuff, right? So let me just call this and move back over here, and here we go. For now, here you can see this. Okay, so it's application restart. If I click on this, and here you can see that this one is visible, right? So if I move back over here, and if I go to the my selections, and here you can see this, now that view is not visible over here. Okay, so now move back over here, and next thing what we have to do is, now this one is working fine. Next thing, we have to fetch the data corresponding to that category. So database.main.DAO.getAllSelected is equal to true. So in the my selection only we have to show all the data, right? So only selected value will be visible over here. In the else condition, what we have to do is items list is equal to database.main.DAO.getAll. Inside this one we have to pass the category, and that header is basically category. So we have to pass the header into this one. After this, what we have to call is update recycler view. Inside this one we have to simply call items list. Now let me restart the application, and now let's see if the data is being rendered or not. So if I click on this basic needs, and here you can see this, now all the data is rendered over here. If I click on this, now our application crashes. Let's see what happened. Quickly, just move back over here, begin to crash. We had the unknown color, the color is unknown. So let me just move back over here into this one, and let's go over here. Whenever checkbox is clicked, get color. Okay. This actually we missed the hash over here. Now let's restart and try it once again. So I've restarted the application and installed baby needs, and if I click on this, and here you can see this jump shoot is packed. If I click on this, jump shoot is unpacked. Let me click on this and let's try to delete. Confirm it, and here you can see this jump shoot is gone. Okay, if I move back over here to the bottom, if I click something like this, if I click on this, now this will not work for now because we haven't coded for it. So if I move back over here and just go to the bottom, and if I click on my selection, here you can see this, now the passport is visible, but now the color for this one is not there. If I click on this, this will be removed. Okay, so if I move back over here and if I select the multiple items like this one from the different categories, something like this, move back in the technology, let me select multiple stuff, and if I go below and in the my section, and here you can see this, we have all the items over here. So now move back over here, and now finally what we are going to do is we are going to code for the add stuff, this button, right? So let me just move back over here to this one, that is checklist, and here after this update recycler, what we have to do is we have to actually code for that btn add. That what we want to do is we want to add the new item. So btn add, inside this one we have to put set on click listener, inside this one new view on click listener, inside this one first what we do is string item name is equal to txt add dot get text dot toString. After this, if item name is not equal to null and not item name is empty. If this is not the situation, then I want to add the item. So add new item, inside this one we have to call the item name, and this add new item stuff is, or method is already written. After this, in the else situation, what we want to do is we want to show a message. So toast, inside this one what we have to do is empty can't be added, and here also I want to show a toast that your item is added. So item added. Let me just save this and let's restart my application and let's see what this exactly happens over here. Click on this and here you can see this. Okay, so we missed some of the stuff, I guess. Let me just check it. Let's restart my application, and my application is restarted. If I move back over here, PCD, click on this and you can see this, now the item is added. Okay, new item, save items. This one, actually we missed one small stuff, I guess that's why that item is not being visible. So what we have to do is we have to again, here you can see this, now the item is saved into the database, right? But that the new item is not being fetched and added into this list which we are passing into the data into the recycler view. So for that what we have to do is we have to move back over here. So items list is equal to database dot main DAO dot get all, and we have to pass the header into this one. And now save it and now restart my application and let's see now what happens. So if I click on this and if I add X, Y, Z and click on this one, and here you can see this, now the X, Y, Z is instantly visible. And if I click on delete, cancel, nothing happens. If I click on delete confirm, now the item is gone. You can see this. This is how it works. So let me just explain how this all stuff is working right now. So first thing what we have to check. So what we did is we created a variable for this one. We have created a list of items and header and show. So we have passed some of the stuff from this adapter, right? So if I move back away, we have put the header and we have put this true and false, the show value. So if I move back and we have finally moved back to this checklist class. So if I move back over here to the checklist, first what I did is I did added a back button over here. Okay, so after this we have to actually extract some of the value from the intent. That is, we got the intent and we got a current intent, get intent, and from this intent I extracted the value, that is header and the show and hide header stuff over here. After this I have set the title into the toolbar. I have registered the text field, button, and the cycler view and the linear layout, and we got the instance for the database, and we have hide and show the items on the basis of this show stuff. Suppose in the my section, if in the my section we are passing the this one to false, so in that case I am hiding these all stuff, right? And we are extracting only the selected values and showing it over here. And finally we have extracted this item list, and we passed to this update recycler. Here we have this item list, and inside this one we have passed the context and the item list and the database object which we have created over here, like this one. Here you can see this get instance. We got the instance for this database, and this database is passed over here, and that show value, whatever we got from the intent, we are passing into this adapter. Now we move back into this checklist adapter, and here we have this context, item list, and show. And after this, what we did is we have registered the layout for each item, and we have performed all the operations inside this one, as I have told you that for the delete button and for the this checkbox. Okay, so this is how this all stuff is working. And for the one view, we have registered all the view inside this one, in this view holder. And one small stuff is still remaining. If I move back over here, and if I move back to the app, and let me just open my application. If I click on this, and here you can see when I click on this, nothing happens. So for that, what we have to do is we have to override one method over here. So alt insert and click on this and click on override. And here what we have to do is we have to search for on support navigation up, this one. Click on OK. And here what we have to do is on support navigation up. Let me just remove this, on back pressed, and finally return true. Let me just save it, and let me just restart my application. Click on this, and if I click on this, and here you can see this new, now we are back onto the previous page. So that's it for this video, guys. In the next video we are going to work on this menu items over here, and for the search stuff, and whatever operation when we click on the specific button, we are going to see in the next video. So that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends, and please follow us on Instagram.